Okay, so rational number definition. A rational number can be written as a over b, basically as a fraction. Okay, so a and b are integer numbers, and b is not equal to 0. Now something like square root 4 over 6, yes, that's a rational number because it equals 2 over 6. Okay, it's a fraction. But something like square root 8 over 3, well, that would be some kind of decimal. Let's find out real quick. Square root 8. 2.82. Is that an integer? No, it's a decimal number. So then this is not, okay, this is not rational. So that's one way to check. Now the other way to check, even root 8 by itself, that equals this decimal 2.82 dot 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 dot. It goes forever and ever and has no end. Okay? If it has no end and it doesn't repeat, you can't make it into a fraction. Now what about this fraction? Okay, right, this one goes forever. On your calculator, everyone pull them out. Go 1 divided by 3. Right. So your fractions are divisions, by the way. So go 1 divided by 3. Now you also get a number that goes forever. Okay? Exactly. This is the difference. So this one is repeating, so it has 0.3 with the repeat bar. Because it's repeating, it is definitely a rational number. Okay? Now what about 2 divided by 6? Do that on your calculator. Sorry, 2 divided by 3. 2 divided by 3. 2 divided by 6 is 1/3. Oh, I guess it's not repeating because there's a 7 at the end. Is that right? It's not. Oh, that's funny. Ethan says 6 at the end. How many people have a 7 at the end? Oh, what's our calculator doing? See why you can't just be a monkey puncher and punch into your calculator? You got to think a little. You have to know that your calculator is rounding. Okay, so you got to think a little bit. This still is 0.6 repeating. Okay, it's just rounding the last digit. So be careful if your calculator does that. Okay, you need to be aware of that. So whole numbers like 3, how would you write 3 as a fraction? Oh, come on, someone put their hand, at least say something. Thank you, 3 over 1. Okay. What about negative 7? What is that as a fraction? Negative 7 over 1. Good, you guys are killing me here. Please speak up. Okay. Good. Any questions? What about 2.4, sorry, 2.7 as a fraction? (27 over 10), or 2 is your whole number and 7 over 10 is your fraction. Okay, all about place value. We'll talk more about that coming up. Okay, so to compare rational numbers, if I want to see which number is bigger, number one, you can put both numbers in decimal form, and that's what you guys probably do. Right? So if we have 7 over 8, what does that equal as a decimal? It's a division. 0.875. Okay. Good. Or this one you guys suck at because you just cheat on your calculator and always do number 1. Find the equivalent fractions with common denominators. Okay. This one I wouldn't really use the half method. Just cross that off. I don't really like that one too much. Your textbook will use it for one question. Basically compare how are the numbers below half of their value or above half of their value, right? So if I compared 3 over 8 compared to 5 over 6, I know that this one's bigger because it's above 3 over 6, where this one is below 4 over 8, right? This is a half of the fraction. This is a half of the fraction. Okay, so just looking at them, you'll know right away which one's bigger. Because this one's above half, this one's below half. Any questions? Now, if they're closer in size, it'd be harder to tell, right? Like if they were both above half, it'd be really hard to tell. So that's why I don't really like that too much. Okay, negative signs. We're going to place these on the number line. Okay, gotta be careful. The larger the digits, the smaller the value, and opposite values are the same distance from 0. Okay, so below here, each pair of fractions are opposites. Okay. So one's positive, one's negative. That makes them opposites. And they are both equal distance from 0. Okay. So what we could do is put on a number line. I would compare them by dividing to get the decimal, because I'm not very good at fractions, although I know it's really close to half, because half of 12 is 6, and I'm at 7. So 0.58, with the 3 repeating. So whereabouts is half? I would say half is about here. So I should mark negative 7 over 12 just beyond it. Now don't forget, positive 7 over 12 will be just beyond half over here. Notice how these distances are equal. Okay, those distances are equal. That helps you put it on the right side of half, because it's very common, I see this mistake, people will, oh, it must be right here because it's 0.58. It's slightly bigger than 0.5. Okay, don't think about that way. Okay, that's incorrect. All right, 2/3. Plot that in your number line. Go. Use a calculator, convert it first. So 2 divided by 3 equals 0.6 repeating. So whereabouts is that one? So here's positive 2/3. The negative 2/3 will be on the other side of negative 7 over 12. So there's negative 2/3. Okay? So make sure that you have, from 0, you got red, blue, green. And the other direction from 0, you have red, blue, green. Okay, so they should be same distances from 0. Any questions? Okay, be careful when you're plotting your negatives. Okay, place these on the number line, please. Again, it's probably easiest if you convert to a decimal. Well, probably not for the first two, but for the third one, yes. Okay, place on the number line, be careful. Think about where negative 1 is here. Do not put the fraction there because we're actually closer to the negative 2. Okay, so make sure you plot on the correct side of negative 1. Negative 3 is here, okay, but we're at negative 3.5, so we're closer to negative 4. So there's negative 3 and 1/2. Okay, negative 5 over 8 is 0.625, so negative 0.625. So think about where halfway is. Halfway is about here, so I should definitely see your plotting point slightly closer to negative 1. I will look for that, and I will mark it correct or not. You have to put it on the correct side. Now, don't write down the decimal, because that's not what I want plotted. I want the fraction plotted, negative 5 over 8. Okay? Good. And you can make this line a little longer so I can see that's the one that you're talking about. Questions? Any questions? You guys okay with plotting them? All right. Good. Good. Place the following numbers on the number line. Be aware of halfway. So now we got positive and negatives. Be careful. Go. Turn them to decimals. That'll help you out. Okay. You guys have much better ideas what to do with the decimals. 3, 4 over 5. What's that one? You guys done? Yes or no? Say it. No? Yes? Because I give you a letter, you could just put a letter down as well. That usually keeps it nice and tidier, okay? I didn't say to. Negative 1.6 would be slightly closer to negative 2. Negative 1 2/3. That's going to, Should that be to the right of B or to the left of B? What do you guys think?
Left.
Why left?
0.66.
Yeah, so negative 1.666. It's actually a little bit closer to negative 1.7, so it should absolutely be to the left of B. Okay, just a little bit, but you better put it on the correct side because that's what I'm actually going to look for when I mark. Okay, 2.7 is easy, about here, D. 0.7 repeating. Looking at A, where should A is what again? 0.8. So E should be slightly to the left. Okay. So often we get you to just compare two fractions, right? This one's just out there just to make sure you're awake. Okay. Any questions? All right, turn it over. So, circle the larger number in each pair by putting them into decimal form. So put them into decimal form, circle the larger number. Please write the decimal form down below. Go. That's a huge repeating section, isn't that, for that first one? If you look on the calculator, it doesn't start repeating all the way to here. So you'd have to put a repeat bar over all those digits. Oh, is that the 8s? No, it's 88235941, and then it starts repeating again. 1764, right? Just like at the beginning. So if you're going to put the repeat bar, 0588235941, your repeat bar will have to go over all those digits. That's pretty cool. Pardon? Yeah, I would just round that. I mean, but I'm just, the reason why I noticed that is I'm thinking, wow, that one's going forever, but is it not repeating? Because that would make it irrational, but yet it's a fraction. Okay, but if you look at it, I mean, it's definitely a rational number, right? It does repeat. It's just a huge repeating section. I haven't seen that before, that's all. It's been a long time. Okay. Yep. Good question. Can anyone answer that? Why did I just be concerned about the 6 divided by 7 and didn't really give two hoots about the negative 2 in front? Yeah, they're both a negative 2, so that's not the issue. The issue is the fraction and decimal, which one's bigger. So you don't need to look at the front number because they're both the same. So you're going to compare the second part, the fraction and decimal. Now this here, because it's a negative, that's a little weird, okay? So don't forget that. So the bigger one is actually the fraction part, okay? We don't have to be too careful about that. But for B, absolutely. Again, D is like B, so be careful which one you circle. Okay, C is easy because they're both positives. Which one are you going to circle for D? Melanie? Negative 3 and 1 over 6. Yeah, that one would be bigger. Okay. This one here is closer to negative 4. This one's closer to negative 3. All right, so it's larger. Okay. So when you get to negative, slow down, take some extra time. Okay, next one. So we could definitely take these into decimals. We don't want to. We want to have common denominators. So make sure you're practicing your fraction skills or it's going to really hurt next year. You're going to end up crying. I said that a few times, haven't I? I should stop saying that. Sorry, it's so mean to me. Okay, what's the common denominator? We have 5 and a 10. Good. Always go up. Never try and make this denominator go down because it's only going to work once in a while. Okay? Good. So multiply this one by 2. Same with the top. 4 over 10, 3 over 10. Which one's bigger? 4 over 10. Okay? Now you should circle the original question, please. Okay, you should circle the original question. Okay, go ahead for these ones. Make your denominator the same. Be careful with the negative sign again. So for B, which one's bigger? This one will be 9 over 15. This one will be 10 over 15. Because it's negative, this one's larger. Okay, smaller digits, larger numbers for negatives. Okay. Now the next one, do we even have to be worried about that 2 in front? Not at all. You can just cross that off because it's the fractions, which are going to tell us whether one's smaller and which one's larger. Okay. What's the common denominator? 35. Okay. Remember, it's a negative sign. Okay. For D, 0.16. How do you turn that into a fraction? Keep in mind this is the tenths, and the 6 is in the hundredths decimal value. Okay. So this would be 3 and 16 over 100. Super easy. Okay, the decimal place value of the last digit tells you how to turn into a fraction. So then you have to get common denominators. So this one will be larger. For the negatives, which one's larger? Yeah, the first one. Okay, because of this negative sign. Be very careful with it. Again, you don't need to compare the numbers in front because they're the same. You just compare the fractions. Ascending and descending. What does ascending order mean? Yeah, so it would be from small to large. Okay, so it means going up. And then descending would be the opposite. That would be going down in size or decreasing. So it would be from large to small. Okay, so increase in size, decrease in size. Okay, now if we had all fractions, we could go to a common denominator, but because we have a mixture, what should you do?
All decimals.
Make them all decimals. Go ahead, do that. Now write the original numbers in the order, please. Okay. Okay, one thing I like to point out is notice how in the mixed fraction, your whole number is a whole number when you go to a decimal. So it's easy here to go back and forth. Okay, we don't really have to pay attention there. Just transfer it down and convert your fraction to a decimal to figure out your decimal value. Okay, okay, what's the order? First fraction, Kyle. Nope, that's the, we're going in ascending order, so we're starting at the smallest. A couple of them have negative signs. Good, negative 1.2, that's the smallest. Duman, what's the next one? Good, negative 8 over 7. Whoops, that's supposed to be a 7, nice writing. Next one. Michelle, oh, Alouette. 2.8. Ooh, yep, 2.8. Good. Sorry, I wasn't really looking there. Next one. Meaty. 16 over 5. No, this one's 3.2. Now we're dealing with positives, so this one would be the next size. Okay, 3 and 1, 6. And the last one then will be 16 over 5. That's the largest out of all of them. Okay, so you gotta be careful going with positives and negatives on which one's larger. Don't get messed up there. Any questions?